Like, they're telling us what to do, what we can and can't do all the time. So we're pissed.
Shawna, War on Women, welcome. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So first thing out of the gate, we haven't had an album since 2020. What is going on? Where are we?
The pandemic is going on. The pandemic completely zapping my creativity is what's going on. As well as kind of a delayed rollout for the last album, Wonderful Hell. It took a while till we could play shows and play those songs live, and we were so like proud of them and stoked, and so we were just kind of concentrating on that. And then finally we're like, I don't think that album got its due because it was released before anyone had a vaccine, like we weren't leaving the house. So we've been thinking, okay, I guess we just need a new album. Like there's nothing we can do to like push Wonderful Hell more. People want new. So yeah, we're actually working on writing new stuff as we speak.
Do we have a date of when we might be going in the studio or when that will be releasing?
We think, we know we want to go in the studio in the summer. But a release date is like, who the fuck knows? Right. Oh, I can say that, right?
Go for it.
Okay. I was like, wait, is this family friendly?
You can do whatever you want here. All right.
And I fucking will. Thank you.
Because this lady here is part of like alternative history. I found out before we started alternative rock history. But anyways, for those who don't know who War on Women is, give us an elevator pitch. Tell us all about the feminist punk rock and roll.
I mean, I think you just nailed it.
There we go.
Feminist punk rock and roll. Because it's not, it's not metal. It's not pop punk. It's not, I don't even know if it's like hardcore. I really kind of think it's just punk rock with lots of heavy stuff. We are very much influenced by metal and hardcore. So there's a lot of that in there, but we still write pretty catchy stuff. And sometimes I sing, I don't just yell the whole time. So there's a little bit for everyone, hopefully.
How has speaking of the punk rock, the feminist punk rock, how has the gatekeepers of punk rock taken to that message over the years? It's because it's not like punk is conservative, but it also can be very toxic on all fronts.
I just did an interview today with a young woman working on a thesis for college. I didn't even ask what class. I probably should have. But we were talking about, different genres of music lending themselves to being rebellious. And yet sometimes they uphold these kind of status quo ideas or isms that in the world. And I was saying to her that, well, like, of course they do, because it's made of humans. Right. Human beings play all genres of music. And therefore, we come with all our stuff, our shit, our baggage, our ideas, our biases. And so we have to actively work against that to not accidentally reflect what's going on with the people in power that we say we're pissed at, right? For like telling us what to do all the time. Well, guess who they're telling what to do all the time right now? Anyone that's not a cisgender man. Like they're telling us what to do, what we can and can't do all the time lately. So we're pissed, and we need everyone to sort of get involved and help us out. So I think we've been so lucky to play with so many great bands that get it, and they have been amazing allies in letting us, like open for them. Bad Religion, Alkaline Trio, The Refused, Cave In, Propagandhi, letting and others, I'm sure too, Flag, lots of amazing bands, letting us open for them and exposing their audiences to our kind of music, but also message.
2015, you released a self-titled album. And I remember hearing that, and it seems like it's a lot of the stuff that was talked about in that album is kind of in the mainstream these days. You had the pro-life song, well, pro-life question
pro-life
mark.
With a question mark. Yeah.
Yes, not a pro-life song. And then, Roe v. World. And That had to be a pretty gutsy move for you back in 2015, because it was a topic, but it's nothing like it is in 2022 or 2023.
I think so. I don't like to give myself that much credit or give the band that much credit. Like the society was going to move this way anyway,
Right.
just like there was going to be a backlash anyway. But yeah, it felt like there certainly weren't a ton of bands that were active with women in it that were saying, we are fucking pissed about what's going on. And yeah, it's actually been kind of hard to write new songs, to be like, well, how do I can't write like my fourth abortion song,
Right.
What can I write about that I haven't already written about, that I'm actually like inspired by or interested in, or can make sound good, which is a high bar to cross. So I don't know. I'm happy that we have some songs that people can play loudly when they want to get pumped or go to a protest or get mad or dance around or go for a hate jog or whatever they need to do to let out whatever they're feeling.
Do you feel a sense of, I mean, because really what you guys are doing, I mean, you've had guys, Fat Mike has done this, Bad Religion has become very political, but on the woman front, of female fronted group, I said woman to go with war on woman.
Woman front. Yeah.
Right. It hasn't been as argumentative as you have been. It hasn't been as to the forefront. It's you have a lot of women who just kind of talk about the heartbreak, or like they'll do like girl power songs, but they don't really talk about issues that impact women.
Well, look, there's plenty of dudes whining about their heartache. Okay. For the record, I do not think that is for one gender alone.
No, absolutely no.
Okay.
That's how punk got started, was white dudes complaining how the woman doesn't like them for the most part. That's pop. That's mid 90s pop punk right there. I have a 9-year-old daughter, and being a white guy, middle-aged, middle class, all that, didn't really even fully grasp the gender differences until I saw it so young, even in my daughter.
Yeah.
When, because she's big into punk and she's big into ska and stuff like that. And she wants to play guitar. She wants to play drums. And people are like, well, no, a girl should play piano, or a girl should play a violin. And it's like,
Still people are saying this.
It's a Nashville thing. I'm in the South. So,
fuck that. Nashville, come the fuck on.
Hey, you know better than anybody. So
yeah.
Your last album was in 2020. We've talked about Wonderful Hell. And there were some great songs on that one. Obviously, the title track of the album, Wonderful Hell, and then a couple more that I have saved in my Spotify was Big Words and Her ?
Oh, cool.
When you guys went in to make Wonderful Hell, where were you at mentally as an artist, like on a creative level? Because that was a very different album from the self-titled in 2015.
Yeah, and in between that, we had the album Capture the Flag.
That's right.
That came out a couple years before. So we started recording. We were in the middle of recording Wonderful Hell when the lockdown of March 2020 happened. So there was only like one song where I was kind of finishing up the lyrics after we knew that COVID-19 existed, right? So for the most part, everything was about how I was feeling and processing things before 2020. And really kind of about just how bad I felt the country was getting, how unsafe the country was getting for marginalized people who experienced disproportionately high rates of violence. But also we put out Capture the Flag, and there was a song on there called Predator in Chief. And for Wonderful Hell, I was like, I don't owe anyone any songs about Trump. I don't want to have to write about him. Like, let someone else do it. Let some dude do it. Fuck that dude. I don't want to think about him in 10 years when I'm still playing it live. Right. Like, yes. So I just wrote about other stuff. And so it's been so I feel like I got everything out for that. And then COVID was just like, you are at zero and you're going to be at zero for like 2 years. So I was just storing up little ideas, little lines in my lyric book. And then finally I could like compile, this might all be a song. This might all go together. I think that answered your question. I don't know. I don't remember.
You wrote a book in the 2019 it released. Have you always been a flamethrower? In a good way, in a good way. To quote the band The Drowns, the feminist flamethrower. Have you always been this way,
or that's did it? High praise. Thank you.
What caused you to make this turn? You know, like because you speak about Trump, and I had friends who were Republicans their whole lives, and then Trump was just way too much for them, and then they turned. What was it for you that really made you become this vocal, this in your face about what you believe? Because even like the book and the song, I mean, you know, all the songs and everything, like, was there a turning moment for you, or you just like, you always grew up and you were just ready to take on the world?
Well, I should say that even if that is what comes across, like, I still am very like, oh, I hope no one's mad at me, you know, like all the weird conflicting things that humans can do. We can be brave and afraid and, you know, all that stuff. Like, I'm very much a well-rounded person,
right?
With all my emotions and fucking issues and baggage, right? But I think the biggest contributing factor is probably just being the only child of a single mother.
Okay.
And just being raised to feel like I like probably too much, that I deserve the world, which I do not. No one does, right? But I was, you know, lavished with love and attention, which is great. And it took me a while to realize I was not actually the center of the universe. And that's a tough lesson, you know? But it was that sort of feeling of like, well, if I want to play music, then I'm going to play music. If I want to play guitar in a band, I'm going to do it. I don't care if you think that I should be here or not. I'm just going to do what I want. And that sort of coupled with like, because I knew I was being mistreated or discriminated against or whatever, I could see, even before I got my shit together with therapy, even before that, I could see that, well, it looks like other people are being mistreated just for being who they are too.
Right.
And that's not cool. And so none of this should happen. None of us should be treated poorly just for being born who we are. So those two ideas kind of made it a little easier to just say, hey, I think this is fucked up. And the book gives it's right here because I'm a pro, making spaces safer. Go buy one. The book is based on years of me training venues and shops and small businesses and groups to make their spaces safer for people coming in, and telling them how to deal with harassment when it inevitably happens, how to make the space better for everybody and more fun for everybody. And that's easy to do when I have this band as an outlet for my anger, where I can just be a little more unfiltered and just say whatever the fuck I want. And then I can go into a training and be really nice and patient and meet them where they are and like take my time and be non-judgmental. You know, there's sort of two aspects. So they sort of help each other. Everything I'm doing sort of feeds off of itself.
You've been doing this for a while. Have, when it comes to the sexism and the misogynistic attitude of people in the music industry, are we getting better or are we getting worse?
I think things are getting better.
Okay.
I do. I really do. I also think that when things get better, there is usually a backlash. There's kind of the last breath of whatever's dying, the death grip on the old ideas that they don't want to let go of, you know? So, you know, when people are scared of change, people that are scared can be loud, and they can be a little dangerous when they're afraid. I'm just thinking about my dog, who is like, when she's scared, she will bark at you and bite your neck, you know? So I get that it's scary when things change, but it really is for the better, just to have access to like more and better music and media and art and ideas, like just thinking about all the people that we're not getting to hear from because they don't feel like there's space for them, or they don't want to go into an openly hostile space. So things are getting better, but there's also a backlash. And then it's sort of like, even if things might be getting better in art and music, there's this thing just generally in the country of everyone feeling super divided and going to their own corners and really like hunkering down in their opinions. And a lot of it has to do with 24-hour news cycle and media that's completely biased and no fact check, people taking whatever they see on Facebook as fact and staying in their bubbles, and that's everyone, right. So because of things like that, there's just kind of generally more tension. And unfortunately, since 2016, I know that hate crimes have been on the rise steadily since then, and they haven't gone down yet. So it's just kind of a little scary to be a marginalized person in this country right now. And that's why I care so much, actually, about spaces being safer, these third spaces, which is just a term for like, if it's not work and it's not home, what is it? The third space, where you go to like have a coffee, chill out, watch a show, like relax, have a drink. Like those like safer third spaces are vital so that we can have a true escape from whatever else is going on out there, that we can figuratively let our hair down and relax and have a good time, because like that's what I care about. I want everyone to have a good time. We just got to do a little bit of work to make sure that that's possible.
My daughter is she's adopted from Taiwan, and when lockdown started at 7 years old, the way that people treated her, like she was patient zero, and it goes into the stupidity of people, the ignorance of people, that because like you said, they watch the 24-hour news and that's the gospel now, and they run with it, and it changes from whatever their favorite talking head says. And have you, okay, so we're going to get back to music in just a second, but I gotta ask, you have any conservative friends or family?
I have conservative family.
Yeah.
I do.
And how do they take, like how do they, this is for you right now to coach those people who have MAGA family. How do they get through Thanksgiving?
Right. It is tough. Well, for me, there's been sort of like, I've had to do some soul searching of like, are we at a point with this particular person right now where I think they can come back, where they can change, where we can meet in the middle at all? Is it worth the work putting into this person? Is there a chance? And sometimes there's not. And when there's not, I diffuse, I change the subject, I make a joke, I get back to, just like, and honestly, over the last holidays, there was a lot of, oh, actually, could we watch a movie? Right. Like, because otherwise the news would literally be on all day long.
Right.
So I was asking to watch shows and movies a lot, just so we could change it up and have something else to talk about. But with the people that I think there's a chance with, a big tip that I've learned from some organizations is to make it personal. And by that, I just mean, say, there's this bill coming up in XYZ state where they're trying to ban drag shows. And unfortunately, that means that people are getting really confused about what drag is and what trans is. And I have actual trans friends who are concerned for their safety in this country right now. And so if I can talk to these family members about actual real people that are close to me, how it affects me, how I'm feeling, like that's how I make it personal, because my family member cares about me. They don't care about a hypothetical trans person on the news, but they do care about me. And so that's an entry point to make it something that they might think about at least. And also, you're not going to get them all the way to where you want them in one conversation. So it's okay to kind of like say your piece and, you know, don't be defensive and then let it go. And there's still a chance that they're going to think about it later. And who knows, they could become like the biggest ally ever.
Right. Well, also you could just give them one of your albums and we can convert them like that. So you guys are going to be hopefully going in the studio soon.
Yeah.
We have one date right now on the books in September. Do we have more tour dates coming from you guys?
We really wanted to. We do have one that's just not announced yet, and it's coming up soon. And I'm like, it's a festival, and I'm like, why haven't you announced yet? So, but it's not my place to say. It's up to them on their own timeline. But maybe something in April. I didn't say that. So watch out for that. But I think because touring during COVID is so complicated and like colds, and it's just easier to get sick right now. And also we wanted to try to save our creativity, like not get exhausted from touring, but just really have like the energy and time to write new stuff. We're turning inward and just working on new music, and we're kind of not worried about shows right now. And so I think we might hit it hard next year around a new album, but we're just trying to take it easy so we can focus, because it's hard. It's hard to have a job where you don't make any money and also go on tour and also write a new album, and like no one has any time and everyone's spread thin and like the world is normal, but it's not. And it's just like, what if we take it easy for the first time since the band started over 10 years ago? I think it's okay. I think it's okay to do.
How is that for you and the rest of the band to kind of almost just take a knee for a moment, you know, and not live on the road and not just be working 20 hours a day on this? Like, how is that for you guys? Do you welcome it? Do you feel like you're missing out? What's that mental process like?
I think at the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, oh, this is nice, actually.
Right.
like we've been going so hard, saying yes to everything, and a very much a like scarcity mindset of like, if we don't say yes to everything, people will stop asking, which, you know, isn't not true, but also doesn't value our own like physical and mental health in any way. So, although for the record, I'm very happy that we did everything that we did. I wouldn't change a thing. Honestly, I'm fine with sleeping on floors. But when the opportunity to take a break was like mandated, I was like, oh, this is nice.
Right.
And I also, you know, me personally, I've worked really hard over the years to make sure that my self-esteem is not tied to live performing.
Right.
That is not tied to an audience clapping for me. Because I think early on, you know, I've been playing live since I was 14 years old. I've been playing guitar since I was 12. So early on, I think it was tied to that. And so I worked really hard as an adult to separate myself. And so I think it wasn't as hard for me as maybe it might be for some people that might not even realize that's what's happened to them. They've just been really lucky to have like really great shows. And then they're like, they don't know why they're sad when they get home because there's no one clapping when they do the laundry, you know, like that's a real, I don't mean to make light of it. Like it's a real thing. Like it sucks. So I got lucky that I didn't feel that way. And I could just sort of like nest, which I've never done. But now it's kind of that weird in between.
Right.
Where it's like, you kind of want to tour, but you're also like, oh, things are still weird out there. And it's like, I don't love performing to people wearing masks, but I want them to wear them so that I don't get sick on tour.
Right.
It's weird. Like I want to communicate with people and see their faces, and I'm kind of tired of not seeing their faces, but I don't want to get sick and I don't want to get anyone else sick. So I don't know. It's just fucking weird. And that's why maybe another enticing reason to just be like, what if we don't worry about it this year as much? And we'll see what's going on in the world next year.
Well, the last thing you want to do is go through the hassle of booking a tour and then you got to cancel it because somebody gets sick
And
or
that definitely happened last
right.
year.
Did it?
Like
Okay.
last minute shows were getting rebooked. We were like, where can we play tonight? Who's
Right.
open? And you're like only taking the donations from the door and like, oh, did you guys need a place to sleep or did you need anything to eat? Like last minute stuff. That was hard. That was
Right.
fucking hard to deal with that. So yeah, it's kind of like not the same kind of fun as it used to be. I don't want to say that touring's not fun, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. It's not just easy.
Well, at what age do you get tired of sleeping on floors in different cities across the country?
I think 30s. I mean, at least for me, I think
Right.
like I was really good for a long time and I would be like kind of judgmental of other people, like, come on, guys, like deal with it. But then I was like, ow, my back hurts. And I'm like doing aerobics on stage basically, and it's
Right.
making it harder to move around. And so I kind of think, a lot of people were reassessing their health, mental and physical, after the pandemic. And I think that's one of the things where as a band, we were like, we don't have to do that anymore. Let's not do that anymore. Like maybe we don't come home with any money. We're barely coming home with money anyway. So we
Right.
might as well sleep on a bed every night.
Who got you into music? Like what artist changed your life? Like you heard their
Well,
music and you're like, I want to do that for the rest of my life.
oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, my mom tells me that she would put on MTV
Okay.
and while I was in my crib, and I would get up and start dancing in my crib. And so like I was always into music, right?
Mhm.
But when I saw the music video, it's gonna sound so cliche, because I'm the perfect age, but when I saw the music video for Doll Parts by Hole, I all of a sudden it kind of clicked like, wait, there's women playing guitar.
Right.
I'm a woman. I'm gonna be
Mhm.
a woman. I'm definitely a girl at the time. I'm a woman. I want to do that. I can do that. You mean I can play guitar? I had no idea, you
Mhm.
know? And so it really was that like, because I'd always liked kind of being on stage and being the center of attention. Like I said, only child. I like doing plays in school and acting. And then, oh, like, well, if I have a guitar, I can perform, but it's more personal and I'm not reading someone else's lines.
Right.
And it's more fun and you can like look tough and cool. This is me at 12. So I think that's what it was for sure. That's why representation in media is so important, because it really is a thing where like when you're young and younger than me especially, and you just don't see yourself anywhere, you don't know what you can be. You
Right.
just don't know.
Who's the who's what artist did you share a stage with that you were just so stoked when you found out like we're gonna be like opening for these guys or we're gonna be on the same bill as them?
First thing that comes to mind is The Refused.
Okay.
Like just instantly I was just like, I'm gonna die. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I was freaking out, and it was only 3 shows.
Right.
It was like such a small run. And we got to hang out with them and like be like friendly with them, and I'd say enough time has passed, I don't think they'd call me friends. I don't know. I'd love to say they're my friends, but they're probably like, oh yeah, we played with you. I don't know. But I used to listen to The Shape of Punk to Come
Mhm.
over and over and over and over. So that was a huge deal. And kind of similar was getting to tour properly with Cave In.
Okay.
I listened to them all the fucking time. So yeah, I would say those two are the ones that stick out in my mind.
For those who want to get into the music industry, for those who want to start a band, gender doesn't matter. Just you got hopes and dreams, big rock and roll hopes and dreams. What advice would you give them? Because you probably have some stories, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, I'd say don't, unless you are just, you know, you want a glorified hobby unless you come from money. I don't know. It's like it's such a money suck. And like it's so tough. I honestly even the way that you're framing the question doesn't resonate with me. Like
Right.
music industry. And I lived in Nashville too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like all around me was music industry. But when I lived there, I went to high school there. I just wanted to play music.
Right.
I thought, well, yeah, it'd be cool if we were like rich and famous, but it's like writing and performing music was the drive, the thing that I had to do,
Mm-hmm.
whatever else was going on. So it's that drive that made me, let me like stick it out for 20 years, playing to no one, playing to 1,000 people, playing to no one again, playing in this band that no one cares about, playing in this band that only sound engineers really like, like one of those bands, real mathy and weird. Like, and then we just got fucking lucky with War on Women that anyone at all wanted to listen to us.
Right.
That's pure luck. Because there are probably a ton of bands, you're saying like there's not many women in bands that are like just overtly like fuck you, I'm mad or whatever.
Right.
I would argue I bet there are tons of bands, but they aren't given the same opportunities or attention. They're playing at the local punk club and maybe they stop because they go to school or have a job or they're not willing to sleep on floors for
Right.
10, 20 years. Like it's a grueling thing. And it takes such a special, perfect amount of circumstances for anyone to even hear about a band. So I think I'm trailing off, but
You're
that's what I'm
good.
thinking right now.
If
Okay.
For those who are listening or watching and they're not familiar with War on Women, what song would you say, check this song out first?
Oh, for our band.
Yeah, for you guys.
Oh, okay. Ooh, that's a good one. Well, we have kind of like internally in the band, we think our songs kind of fall into a couple different categories. And we have like, thrashy D-beat songs, and then we have like straight up punk rock songs. And then we have what I call the weird ones, where it's just like, like noisy or like whatever, or like art project-y kind of songs. So it kind of depends, like, are you more just like you want a good groove like a rock song, or do you want something super fast? Maybe a song that covers a lot of it that a lot of people tend to like is a song called Lone Wolves. So that is a good one. That's on the album Capture the Flag. And then I'm a huge fan of Aqua Tofana, which is on Wonderful Hell.
That's a great song. That is a great song.
Thank you. And like one of the best weird songs is a song called YouTube Comments.
Yep.
And I'm literally just reading the comments people have left for us on YouTube and turn them into lyrics. And that's on the self-titled War on Women album, so there's something for everyone. That's all I'm saying.
There we go. If they want to, we'll link to we'll put all the links in the description of this episode. But if they can't get to the description, how can they find out more about you guys on the internet, on Instagram, or what are your handles?
Yeah, I think you can find us, all our stuff's on Linktree. Okay. And so that's linktree.ee/War on Women. But yeah, it's either War on Women or War on Women Band, just depending on the platform, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
And they're pretty good about responding, unlike some of your favorite other bands.
We are very, very much in the DMs.
Yeah. Lastly, I just want to ask you, have you ever met any of your idols in the music industry, like any bands, and they were the biggest jerks ever, and you're like, I wish I never met them?
Biggest jerks ever.
You don't have to mention any names or anything, but
I want to say that hasn't happened.
Okay, good. Well, good for you. Good for you.
Maybe I just haven't met enough of the people I was idolizing. I try to not idolize anyone because I'm too cool for that. But right, no, for real, you look up to people and you hope it's cool or nice. They're nice. All that's coming to mind right now is going to see Lilith Fair in Nashville in the late 90s, maybe even the year 2000. It was the year Liz Phair was on the tour. I'm a huge fucking Liz Phair fan. I stood in line to like get an autograph, I guess. I don't even know. I think we stumbled into the line and then I was like, oh, yay. And then she ran out of time and had to leave. And I mean, I was so young in high school at the time. She was just walking by and people were like shaking her hand as she's like, she has to go on stage, whatever. And I don't even remember this, but my friend told me, he was like, you know, all you said to her when she went by is, I love you, 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 I love you. And she was kind of like, okay, and like got out of there. And I'm like, wow, that doesn't sound like me, but I guess it happened. Like, I must have been fucking starstruck, you know?
Right.
And the best part about that is that my friend Sadie in the band Speedy Ortiz got to open for Liz Phair kind of recently and invited me to the show. And they were giving away my book, and giving away and selling the book, because I have like kind of a donation thing if you want to donate a book to your favorite venue. And so she shouted me out. And so because of that shout out on stage from Sadie, I stayed late and Sadie introduced me to Liz Phair. And she was like, yeah, hi, sorry, you know, but I got shit to do. Okay, fine, normal. Then I saw Liz Phair at the airport, like a few months later on our way to Australia. We were both playing different festivals and she was just chilling. And I said, hey, blah, 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 my friend, blah, 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 I met you, blah, 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 this. And she was like, oh, cool. Yeah, Sadie's so cool. It was so nice to tour with them. That's so cool you're here. What are you doing? Okay, you know, and it was just like this nice, normal two musicians going to festivals, no big deal, as if I'm anywhere on her level. And it was actually a much better memory to replace the I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you memory. So shout out to Liz Phair.
And if they want to find out more about the book, they can go to your website, which is shawnapotter.com, right?
shawnapotter.com. You can find it on AK Press. You can order it from your local bookstore.
Is it on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
You got to do that. You know, people are lazy.
No, I know. Yeah, it's available there too. And there's an audio book read by me. So don't get that if you've hated listening to this interview.
See, now the thing is, some audiobooks, the people that they hire to read the books, it's brutal. It's torture to listen to.
I love it.
You have a career in reading books from this. I mean, you know, I'm listening to you right now. You could read books for a side hustle because you got a great voice.
Okay, well, somebody call me because I'm very willing to do that. I've got a little setup. I got my Yeti mic. I'm ready to do voice work. Somebody call me.
I will be the agent, and my rates are very, very fair for you, Shawna.
Into it. Totally fair. Yeah.
Last thing, anything you want to leave the listening audience, viewing audience, whatever, that we did not cover in this, because we kind of went down a bunch of different rabbit holes, which I appreciate you willing to do. But anything that you just want to throw out there before we close this up today?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really fun. Thank you for having me. And thank you everyone for listening and putting up with my feminist killjoy bullshit. And yeah, just again, all any one of us should ever want is for everyone to have equal access to live music, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's what we're all about. Everyone deserves to take part in that. And so to do that, we need to maybe learn bystander intervention. That's something I did not invent. You can Google that. And just, but basically, if you see someone that looks uncomfortable or is having a bad time, just ask them, hey, are you okay? Is there anything I can do? Mm-hmm. And that's it. It can be that simple.
So once we get an album done, I want to bring you back, but I want the whole band. Not that you haven't been wonderful. You've been great.
Hard.
But I want the whole
band. It's so hard. There's 5 of us. We're all, you know, we all have like multi-job gig worker things.
I'll trash them.
Try.
Whatever band member doesn't show up, I'm going to trash them publicly on Instagram.
Let's roast them.
Like I'm a Taylor Swift fan who had to pay $20,000 for a ticket. No.
You got a deal.
All right. Well, thank you. And all the descriptions to find out more on Shawna's book, War on Women, will be in the description. And Making Spaces Safer The best-selling book by Shawna Potter of War on Women, available. Go to her website. Don't go to Amazon. Bezos has enough money.
That's right.
Thank you for your time, Shawna.
Thank you so much.